FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And on the phone right now, I'm talking with the bassist of the band, that being Doug Rice. And he is with the band Fall of Humanity. And, of course, their latest song we've been spinning is Hate, Love, Sex, and Greed. And first of all, Doug, I'll bring you in here. And I love the title of the song. How you doing, by the way?
Not too bad, man. Appreciate you having us on.
Hey, let's talk about this song right away before we even get into the band, Hate, Love, Sex, and Greed. And I guess the name of it, has it been taking off to radio because of that?
I don't know necessarily if it's the name. I feel like you know, the lyrics are pretty strong. I feel like I feel like certainly you know, who doesn't like a little love and sex, you know, but I feel like you know, those are all very human emotions that everybody can kind of relate to in one way, shape, or form. So
that's cool. That's cool. When I saw the title right away, I was like, this could be a hit, definitely. I mean, especially just with the name and then actually hearing the song afterwards, I'm like, oh yeah, this has definitely got the potential to go somewhere. And you know, listening to the song, it sounds like you guys like to have a lot of fun. Am I right on that? Yeah,
we're certainly for jokesters to you know, we definitely you know, when we get together, you know, it's definitely a good time. You know, we definitely like to enjoy what we're doing, and you know, luckily the band has definitely you know, been a gateway for us to do that.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the interview. Let's talk about the band, first of all, Fall of Humanity. Doug, how did this band all come about? What's the history? What's the story of this band?
Well, actually, the band originally got started as is really just kind of, you know, like a little jam session. Actually, the band primarily was with the idea of the brothers Marcus and Mike. Marcus, you know, you know, our singer, guitar player, and his older brother Mike, who's our drummer, and they've both been in previous bands. You know, all their lives they've had you know, touring bands themselves. They've been on the road with other bands, whether it's, you know, teching or whatever else, and finally, it got down to a point where, you know, that I guess they kind of just asked themselves, like, why have we not, you know, just done it together? You know, like, you know, and certainly I think the family has already kind of asked that question a bunch, and so I think Marcus kind of came in with, you know, with an idea, and Mike sat down with it, and I think they kind of hatched through it and came up with a song that they were really happy with and really excited about, and it became kind of like you know, like a spin from there. It kind of became like, okay, well, let's do this. Like, why stop at one? Let's make a band. So
very cool. And now you guys are pretty young, at least when it comes to a band forming. I'm not saying it necessarily your age, but at least for forming the band, at least you guys have been around for a year or two. Am I correct on that?
Not even a year.
Okay.
Actually, we'll be coming up. This summer will be a year. I like, you know, obviously, like I said, these guys have been kind of, you know, doing a little writing and stuff, you know, before, you know, we all kind of got together. But
okay.
yeah, I mean, we actually we didn't even play our very first show until this past October. So literally, we got together, I guess it was in July of last year, and basically began rehearsing and doing pre-production for our EP, and then we recorded that in September, and literally it was like a race to the finish line to get the you know, the record done, and literally, yeah, the next month we played our debut show, which was also, you know, the EP release, and then I think, you know, like a week and a half later, we went out for a little Midwest tour, and yeah, I mean, still, like I said, still kind of young as the band goes. So
Yeah, you guys are pretty much in your infancy stage then as a band.
oh yeah, we're like I said, we're still.
You're still crawling.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we were talking about like I said, a human being, yeah, we'd be basically just rolling around and crawling a little bit. So
Hey, that's cool. We're talking with Doug Rice. He's from the band Fall of Humanity. Got to ask the name, obviously, Fall of Humanity. What's the story behind it, and how did you guys come up with it?
well, Marcus had written a song called "Fall of Humanity," and I from the conversations that we've had, because I was kind of late to the party. I was actually the last guy to come aboard, and so the song was basically already in play by the time I had had come about. But the name, it has a lot of different connotations, and I think when the song was written and the lyrics to that song really was about how it's more of a reference to how we are as a society nowadays, and how whether it's technology or just politics or whatever, we're slowly kind of going away from what when we all grew up, and our parents, when the times that that our parents grew up in, and
Okay.
this has become such a selfish and me-oriented society, and it's also technology is taking away from just the everyday nuances of being a regular what it means to be human, the interaction and the compassion and the empathy for other people, and and it's definitely a situation where it's alarming. It's something where really if you want to really think about it, it's a scary place. It's a scary time, and like I said, if we're not careful, I mean, we really are kind of creeping up on what the real fall of humanity is all about. So.
Do you guys use a lot of I guess, and I haven't heard much of your music yet, but obviously with the name Fall of Humanity, just kind of what you gave a description of what the meaning of the band name is. Do you put a lot of the music towards that meaning then?
No, I feel like the music kind of we kind of just let that happen. I feel like we don't I don't think we try to to stylize the sound
Okay.
towards the name or what we're the overall theme. I guess we're still very much just kind of what sounds good. We want to play. We don't want to put ourselves in a box, so to speak.
Right.
We like to be able to still have that bring all of our influences in and still be able to play what we enjoy. But Marcus definitely he brings a lot to of those aspects to the table when he's writing his lyrics and when he's doing his vocals and stuff. And I think that's really when I think that's kind of more the common thread there. I think those kind of themes and his ideas and his opinions and viewpoints. I think those are, like I said, those are more what run in the tunes in terms of what Marcus comes up with.
Okay. You mentioned influences. We're talking with Doug from the band Fall of Humanity. Let's talk about the influences. What kind of influenced you to become in a band, for that matter, and maybe the rest of the guys too?
Oh, I don't know. I think everybody has that love and passion for music, but
Right.
I know for myself, I can't speak for everybody else. I know for myself when I got when I began playing, it was like a duck to water. Like it immediately became a part of who I was, and when I first had first got the real taste of performing and playing in a band, it's that feeling is second to none. I mean, getting up there and being able to to interact and to perform. It's a real thrill. It's a real passion, and I think that's the same way for everybody. I think that above all is something that that helps kind of drive everything forward. And like I say, I not too much else I'd like to do. So
very cool, very cool. And the one thing too, and I think you wear multiple hats, and of course you have to when you're an up and coming band. But you kind of are the GM of the band too. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. If there's one to speak of, I guess that would be me. It's tricky,
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of where the industry's going. I think
right.
I think it'd be great, to go back to the days of the 80s and 90s where you didn't really have to think about much other than writing tunes and going out and playing. But I mean, I think it's gotten to the point where I think realistically that's something that a lot of bands deal with on a day in and day out, is that that business aspect of things, and still keeping your finger on the pulse and making sure that that everything's operating the way it's supposed to. Everybody's doing what they need to be doing, and I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. I mean, despite the fact that, like I said, I was kind of the last guy in, it was something that I've done forever with every band I've ever been in, and so it kind of just became that that thing where I don't mind doing it, and it's something that's got to get done, and
right.
so it's just kind of one of those things that it kind of fell. Some of the things kind of fell to me, and slowly over time, I just kind of started picking up more, and those guys certainly didn't have any problem pushing.
I'm sure they didn't.
My way. Oh, okay, yeah, he'll do it. Okay. So
you got the grunt work basically, huh?
It just kind of became what it was. So like I said, I mean, at the same, it's a lot, but at the same time, I'm kind of that weird OCD personality too, so it's probably a good thing. Like,
Well, let me ask.
If not.
Let me ask you this question with that. Obviously, you're on both sides of it. Not only are you on stage, but you also kind of have to do the marketing and all the, the general manager duties of that. How is the industry right now? And is this something, this industry, you hear a lot of different things about rock and stuff. I guess, what's your take on the industry right now?
Well, I feel like I feel like there's, I don't know. Maybe a resurgence is too strong. I don't want to say that, because I don't necessarily feel like. I feel like in the mid 2000s, I feel like there was that genuine resurgence. I think for a while, at the end of the 90s and in the early 2000s, I feel like rock and for a lot of aspects that the new metal had everything had kind of gone in that direction, and I think that had kind of changed the landscape of things. And I feel like by 05, 06, I feel like things had actually kind of started to reach a down spell, and there was a lot of new bands that were coming out around that time that were kind of changing, that were basically going to be reshaping the landscape again over the next 2 or 3 years. And I kind of feel like that's maybe on the cusp again. I feel like we've kind of hit that wall again, so to speak,
right.
where I feel like there's just a lot of copycats. I feel like there's a lot of different. I don't know. I feel like there's so a lot of the passion is kind of missing now. And I don't know. I feel like with a lot of radio stuff, I feel like it's just it's gotten to that point again where, everybody's kind of pushing the same kind of thing. I feel like everybody's, you hear one band and you have to question, well, isn't that, this band and this band and this band? Like
right.
you kind of get into that vicious circle of, like I said, the same old, and but at the same time, like we've been, touring, a couple times in the short history of the band, and there's a lot of great bands out there that are doing, really new and really interesting things, writing great music, and there's certainly, to me, the door is cracked certainly enough where I think it's only a matter of time before one or more of these bands just start kicking it open, and like I said, and we can kind of hit that spot again where I think everybody starts to push things in maybe a little bit different direction, and like I said, create kind of a new time. So
I agree with you on that 100%, and hopefully, on my fellow teammates, I guess, of rock radio kind of grasp it a little bit, because, I still think radio has a very important place when it comes to rock music. Yes, there's social media. Yes, there's the YouTube. Yes, there's all that. But I think a lot of the people, a lot of times hear for the very first time a song is on rock radio. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, no, I still think I agree with you 100%. I still feel like rock radio has a huge part to play, and despite the fact that the internet is obviously so vast and a huge tool to get out and be heard. At the same time, it's so convoluted and just it's a huge mess in terms of maybe finding somebody that that you really enjoy listening to or whatever. It's like I said, it's such a vast landscape of bands at your fingertips. It's hard to kind of dial in and find the one or two that
right.
Maybe you really enjoy. So
I got to put you on the spot here, since you said you were out touring a little bit, and some bands that you really discovered in that. And that's one thing I love doing here on The Dark. We love to discover new bands. This is what the program's all about. It's kind of, I almost, in a way, it's old school college radio back in the early 90s, when you had the Alice in Chains and Nirvanas, the Green Days. They had to get discovered, and how they got discovered is being played a lot on college radio. That's kind of the format we have here with the Dark program. So I got to ask you this question. Are there some bands that you've heard of recently that are really kind of going, boy, these guys might be that next band, as you just mentioned not too long ago, that might push this industry and get it going? What are some of those bands that you're thinking? Besides Fall of Humanity, of course.
Well, yeah, hopefully. Man, that's tough. I feel like there's still a lot of underground bands, and I don't necessarily think that these are the bands that are going to be responsible for the. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't feel like they're the bands that are going to become household. There's bands out there like Periphery,
right? Oh yeah. Yep.
And oh man, I'm trying to think of a couple more.
I know I put you on the spot.
like Gojira and
okay.
like those types of metal bands, but they certainly have a lot of different of the hard rock, more like radio edge.
Right.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think these are the bands that are ultimately going to be the bands that become household names, but I think that they're going to be the types of bands that inspire that next wave. And
right.
that really change the game in terms of what what becomes like the next wave of radio. I feel like when you start talking to bands in the next like 3 or 4 years, and you say, oh man, like you guys have, what are your influences and what are some bands that really help you guys kind of come along? And I think those are the types of bands that they're gonna come out and say, oh, it's well, we used to listen to these guys a lot, or we used to really pull off of these types of bands. And so, like I said, I'm not necessarily sure there's like I said, I'm not necessarily sure that they're there yet. I feel like I said, I feel like there's a lot of stuff more on that underground kind of curve that's still, like I said, that's still kind of a select, select listening for some people. But I feel like I said, I feel like those are the bands that are going to kind of, like I said, inspire the next wave.
The one thing I've noticed with rock radio, and I've noticed this more so recently, is the shelf life of songs isn't lasting that long for an artist. Back in the 80s and the 90s, even maybe early 2000s, you could have a hit song, and it would be on the charts for almost a whole year. Now you're not even seeing it barely on the charts for even 3 months, and it's on to something new. It's very different.
Well, I think there's two real big factors in that. I feel like the first one is obviously the what I referred to earlier with just the basically the mediocrity of of what's getting pushed with
right.
The up and coming radio bands, so to speak. I feel like there's just a lot of the same old. I feel like there's not anything there that that is lasting enough
right.
In people's minds. But I also think not for nothing, I feel like again how we've become as a society as a whole is it's a total instantaneous, instant gratification type society. I mean, it's everything's got to be now, in your face, like give me new, give me this, immediate. And I feel like unless you're really, I really like pushing something special or presenting something that's that's really different or exciting, I feel like it's very easy for people just to kind of forget about it and move along. And but like I said, I feel like there's something to be said about listen, man, I'm a child of the '80s, and there's a reason that you can still have XM radio with an entire station 80s on 8 and
right.
whatever. I mean, those songs are timeless. Even the one-hit wonder songs are there was some sort of magic about some of those songs, and maybe not necessarily the songwriting, but it's just the emotion and the like the uniqueness. And I like I said, I don't think as musicians we're pushing that envelope enough anymore.
No, I agree. We're talking with Doug Rice. He is the band Fall Humanity. The one good thing, I guess, the bright thing about rock music and the rock industry is we're noticing more and more of these big festivals. And in fact, this weekend you got Rock on the Range happening over in Columbus, Ohio. Those things are selling out. There's tons of people coming. So people are hungry for rock music, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean I think rock. The reason I think, especially now, our rock music, still is such a force is because I think people are still. I think people have gotten tired again of the entire, the constant, I don't know, industry churn out of, everything's, studio it out. Again, there's only a handful of bands that even perform their own music anymore, or are able to perform. I mean, and I think there's still that desire and really that need to be able to have bands up there, performing their instruments and really feeling their music. And I feel like rock still is one of the few genres that allows that. Too, I feel like that's why a lot of the more popular country music is even more more throwback rock. I feel like that they've found that too. There's still that like I said, there's still that demand for people to genuinely watch and feel a band play and perform together. So
yeah, very cool. We're talking with Doug Rice from the band Fall of Humanity. Let's get back to your band. If I would go to a Fall of Humanity show, what would I expect to see there?
Well, just shenanigans for sure. We like I said, we enjoy that time that we get on stage, and I feel like there's I feel like we bring a lot of energy. I feel like our stage show is I feel like it's only getting better, but I feel like we really bring everything of ourselves on stage. I feel like we really when it's time to play, I mean, it's we open up, and we really those things and those emotions and that energy and that passion to play and perform. I feel like we really deliver on that, and I feel like like I said, I feel like we're only getting better. I feel like our our stage game continues to evolve, and I feel like as a band, because we're still kind of young, I feel like we're just kind of hitting our stride in terms of performing these songs, and I feel like the new songs are our step up too, and I feel like those are going to really be more as in delivering more in terms of from that live aspect too.
You mentioned a little bit of touring you've done. You did some touring in the Midwest. What's the future on that look for touring wise?
Well, we actually just finished up a tour in April. We actually went out and did a nationwide tour, and it did 19 dates. We've actually been back for about 3 weeks now. So we're taking a little bit of time now. I feel like we're starting getting ready to start the process for pre-producing, because I think the game plan here is to finish writing and record a full record, and hopefully the strategy there is to try to be able to finish that up and maybe release that by fall, and then be able to go back out and have a new crop of tunes to play and to present, and I wouldn't rule out anything in the summertime, maybe more towards August or whatever, but I feel like our focus right now is more in that new music and and trying to get something a new record together. So
nice. I got to ask you this question. I ask every artist this question, and so I got to ask you, what artist would you like to cover one of your songs? So what artist out there, any artist, any genre, would you like to cover a Fall of Humanity song? Maybe even Hate, Love, Sex, and Greed. Who would you like to have cover that?
I'm always I don't know, with covers it's a weird thing, because I feel like I feel like in some ways it's more fun to have like a complete change of genre. So,
yeah, I'm cool with that.
I don't know. Like I'd almost I mean that it almost like I said, maybe it'd be more fun to have like a pop version of that song, or
okay,
or or like I said, like a maybe like a a hard country kind of cover of that or something. So I'm not sure.
You have to ask the guys this the next time you see them and say, "Hey."
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'd have a better idea of it than I do. He's a more rocking country guy. Brantley Gilbert, is that his name?
Yeah. There's here's Brantley Gilbert.
That would be fun. That like somebody like that, or
okay.
Like Eric Church.
Eric Church. Yep.
Like some of like I said, some of those newer, like I said, more rocking country guys maybe taking a spin on that. I feel like that could be fun.
Yeah, well, you got, what do you have, Hootie, Darius Ruckers, who went to the countryside. Aaron Lewis from Stain's done some country stuff, too, so,
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know. Maybe that would be the more interesting spin on on the situation.
I love asking the question because you just never know what kind of answer you're going to get, and a lot of times, I think first of all the question throws people off because they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, it's always an ongoing argument with us. Like we still are we've thrown the cover topic up many times in terms of maybe something we would do for an artist, and
right.
It's we certainly can't ever agree on something that we would actually do. So to think about somebody doing one of our songs is actually even more mind-boggling, I guess.
Well, ask the guys the next time you see them, and then you'll have to come up with that answer, and we'll have you on in the future again, and you can let us know what they said, all right?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Hey, let's. I know we got to wrap things up here. Well, how do people get to know more about this band, Fall of Humanity? What's the best way to find out more information and get your music?
Definitely at this point, our Facebook is probably the easiest thing. If you head, just go onto Facebook. It's Fall of Humanity Band. You can go right to there, and we've got a link to to our music on there. We've got we keep pretty up to date in terms of our tour schedule, and we've got a YouTube page that you can find. We've got a couple live videos and a few lyric videos up. Yeah, I mean we're pretty much available on most online retailers in terms of downloads and stuff like that. So if you wanted to go onto iTunes, you can find us on there. I think Google Plus. Basically anything that you normally go to download stuff. Rhapsody. So if you look close enough, I mean we're pretty easy to find. So
awesome. Doug, a lot of fun chatting with you. I wish you the best of luck with the band, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet up sometime, and hopefully maybe even make a stop here in Minnesota at some time. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great, man. We're really looking forward to it.
Once again, that is Doug Rice. He's with the band Fall of Humanity. We're going to play their latest song, at least on radio right now. It's Hate, Love, Sex, and Greed. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.